All too often, we choose comfort over growth. But modern science is now finding many links between comfort and mental health issues. In this video, we will explore everything from the brave stories of the Maasai tribes to the Japanese cold bathing rituals and learn about the forgotten art of cultivating strength in discomfort. This is Detox Dan presenting my top 5 takeaways from Michael Ester's The Comfort Crisis. Takeaway number 1. The hero's journey to discomfort. In the Maasai tribes in Kenya and Tanzania, young men are sent out alone to hunt a male lion with a spear. You need a lot of skill, strength, endurance, and courage to accomplish the feat. If the young man succeeds, he returns to the tribe mentally tougher and more capable. He has transitioned into a warrior. Many cultures have, or used to have, similar rites of passages. What happens is, by journey through discomfort, we learn about ourselves and become who we were meant to be. In the modern Western world, that seems long forgotten though. A set of scientists wanted to figure out if humans see things objectively or if everything is relative. The participants were shown 800 faces and were asked to report when they felt the face looked irritated. After 200 faces, the researchers stopped showing clearly irritated faces. The percentage of faces the participants deemed irritated though didn't drop. Faces they would have previously said looked neutral now looked irritated instead. Why? Because relatively, these faces still looked more irritated than the rest. This phenomena plays a big trick on us in the Western world. Every new addition of comfort we experience adjusts our baseline and it becomes the new normal. This is very dangerous, since each extra comfort takes us further away from things like exercise and plain healthy foods. That might explain why our health span is actually decreasing despite better and better technology. We also adjust our problems in the same way. As life becomes more comfortable, shallower and shallower things seem to bother us. In Sweden where I live, for example, the cinemas recently stopped allowing you to bring your own snacks. This caused massive hysteria in the media and a nationwide debate. Doesn't sound like a hill I would want to die on. Having fewer challenges in our lives is hurting us long term. New research shows that many mental health issues come from a lack of challenges. The solution? Choose bigger problems. Let's explore some ways to do just that. Takeaway number 2. Misogi. In a Japanese myth, the god Izanagi was married to the goddess of creation and death. They were living a perfect life until she died in childbirth. Izanagi couldn't stand the pain and decided to venture into the underworld. Fighting his way through zombies and demons, he finally found his wife. But she had been turned into a demon as well. He decided it was a lost cause and tried to make his way out. When he got out, he had to purify himself from the decay of hell. He dove into a freezing river and reached the state of Sumikiri. His body got cleansed from all his past limits, weaknesses, and the impurity of hell. The act of cleansing yourself in cold water is called Misogi. It is supposed to make you tougher and let you reconnect with nature. Today, the concept of Misogi has been applied more broadly. It is the act of doing something extremely challenging, say like once a year, to break out of the modern comforts to annihilate limiting beliefs. It could be anything, from running a distance twice the length of your previous record, or carrying a 40-kilogram stone 5 kilometers underwater. Yes, some guys mentioned in the book actually did that. I myself went on a 90-kilometer country skiing race without a single day of experience. We all have a circle of potential, but most of us choose to stay inside the tiny comfortable circle right in the middle. If we don't discover what is at the edge of our potential, we miss something vital in life though. As one of the practitioners put it in the book with regards to Misogi, what are you mentally and spiritually willing to put yourself through to be a better human? Misogis have allowed me to let go of fear and anxiousness. Takeaway number 3. Getting comfortable with boredom. The author went on his own Misogi, a 33-day hunt in the middle of Alaska. We are talking no cell service and lots of grizzly bears. His days consisted of scouting for hunt, carrying heavy bags, and waiting. A lot of waiting. For the first time in forever, he found himself extremely bored. He tried to kill time reading the table contents on his protein bars again and again looking for typos. Eventually, he found one. Boredom is officially dead in the modern world. For 2.5 million years, we went without anything digital in our lives. Now we spend an average of 11 hours a day using digital media. Turns out, this is not a great idea. Our brain bounces between a focused and unfocused state. Whenever we pay attention to something, we are in the focused state. That includes all your screen time. During the unfocused state, we let our mind wander. In this state, our brains restore its energy. It is also the source of our creativity and where we process complicated information. Research show that the lack of time spent in an unfocused state is causing mental fatigue and burnout. It makes us impatient and increasingly demanding. All of this is shown to lead to depression and decreased life satisfaction. Scientists found that every time we distract ourselves to kill boredom, we lower our stress tolerance. Luckily, the opposite is true as well. If we practice not checking our phone while standing in line or riding the bus, we strengthen the resistance in our brains. Another cool thing about boredom is that things are only boring until they are not. When we stare at something monotone for long enough, our brain starts to notice details it hasn't before and find new solutions to old problems. Thus, boredom enhances creativity. And creativity is actually a much better predictor for success than IQ. I truly believe you can do anything you set out to as long as you're willing to push through the boredom. Takeaway number 4. Nature for mental health. In Alaska, the author and his crew spent all day in the wild, coming across stunning views of the tundra and raging rivers. Spending time in nature like this is another way to cure the side effects of modern comfort. Japanese studies found that just a 15-minute stroll through some sort of nature led to a decrease in stress hormones and blood pressure. Other studies found that people who were experiencing very high levels of stress got a drastic drop in anxiety and depression after only 2 hours in the forest. Being in nature put us into an outward focused state of fascination that has similar effects on the brain as meditation. It gives you the same type of downtime that comes from mind wandering. Nature scientist Hoffman describes how you can leverage nature on 3 different levels. On the bottom of the nature pyramid is spending 20 minutes 3 times a week in nature. Any sort of nature works here, say like a city park, and the positive effects are significant. The second level is semi-wild nature. It should be nature that is removed from the city, but still being accessible through, say, a bus ride. Researchers in Finland show that 5 hours a month in this sort of nature does the trick. The last level is the real wilderness. Think no cell service and you having to get there by foot. After 3 days in this type of nature, something amazing happens to your brain. It starts to produce so-called alpha and theta waves, which enhances your thinking, resets your brain, and simply makes you feel great. Takeaway number 5. Hunger. Walking across the tundra, the author and his crew burned an estimated of 6,000 calories a day. The food they brought refilled about 2,000 of those. Conclusion? They were fucking hungry. Hunger is another discomfort we have completely removed from our vocabulary. The average person is snacking pretty much from morning to night. But that was not always the case. Back in the day, food was a scarce resource. Sometimes we had to go long periods with little food. And we ate the food across likely only 1 or 2 meals on any given day. This gave us long windows without any food. Sachin Panda, a scientist at the Salk Institute for Biological Studies, explained that the body used to leverage these windows of hunger. When the body is hungry, it starts to burn stored tissue for energy. But it doesn't burn the fine tissue, it gets rid of damaged cells first. This process occurs after 12 to 16 hours from your last meal and is great for long-term health. I usually go a minimum of 16 hours without food daily for this reason. This type of intermittent fasting is actually good for productivity as well, once you're past the initial discomfort of being hungry. This might shock people, But think about it this way. Who is more focused? A hungry lion or one who just ate a gazelle? Or as I like to frame it, who makes the most inspiring YouTube videos? A hungry detox Dan turtle or one who just had an algae buffet? Those are my top 5 takeaways from Michael Ester's The Comfort Crisis. If you like this video, I think you will also enjoy my summary of Dopamine Nation, which covers similar concepts from a different angle. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and I'll see you next time.